Yeah, my name is Bill Lindsay. I'm from just outside of Sunderland, 50-year-old, unemployed at the moment, going through a recovery programme from addiction. I would say the first time I ever experimented, I was about 14. And I had a little bit of everything out of my dad's wine cabinet, so if you sort of think that, there will have been vodka and whiskey and brandy and gin, and so I had a little bit of everything, and I just didn't think I would get drunk because it was only a little bit of everything, but if you mix them as a 14-year-old, it was quite messy. I've always had a glass of wine with like a Sunday dinner at home, but it was like, I think maybe he's trying to be taught how to drink responsibly.
The reasons are very ranged and varied. There are some commonalities. Obviously, people have had traumatic events in their history, or they may have fallen into alcohol use just through repetitive use without considering the long-term risks of using a drug like alcohol.
Yes, it affected just about every relationship I've ever been in, and that's with my family and also partners, wives, whatever. And I think the understanding came eventually with my family, my immediate family. That's my mum and my dad and my sister. When I actually they realised that I was looking for help seriously. And I think that's when the understanding sort of came. I can only really say for myself, and I'm not too sure why I became addicted. I don't believe it's genetics, I don't believe it's social or political. I think there's somewhere a mix of all of it in between. And for me now, it doesn't matter why, all I know is how to deal with it.
The thing to understand is that addictions can happen to anyone, and no one plans to be an addict. You know, no one ever set out the first day they ever started drinking alcohol and said, I'm going to become an alcoholic or a dependent alcohol user, or whatever phrase you like to use to describe the same thing. The client ends up at this point. I never started smoking to want to become addicted to smoking. You know, I don't think anyone really starts using a drug to want to become addicted to it. We either start using it through being inquisitive, or we'll start using it because our peers are using it. And these are general patterns that are used by everyone.
Pub culture, yes. Culture as a whole, not necessarily just pubs, but the culture that we are in, yeah. I would say it was just what all young people do at the time. It's just most of my mates knew when to stop and I didn't.
I work with anybody over the age of sort of 16 to 18, really, to be honest with you. I mean, anybody at any age, from any sort of social class. Alcohol doesn't really seem to pick or choose a particular group of people. So I think the people that experience alcohol problems tend to be very varied.
I would say from the age of about 25 I knew I had a problem, and I would say from about the age of 35 I knew I was alcoholic.
Clients can be influenced by any number of things. What we do notice more than anything is that when alcohol really becomes a serious problem, in the sense that someone will be drinking, you know, a very large amount of units in one go, let's say 6-7 litres of cider, which is a typical kind of drink for someone that becomes addicted to alcohol, tends to move away from the social environment and move into a very isolative environment. So people might start off in the pubs, but when alcohol does become a problem, you'll find that they become isolated and they're drinking at home. So pub culture, yes, would have probably influenced part of their behaviour, but eventually alcoholism pretty much influences their entire behaviour.
But I think it was handing the keys to me flat back to the building society. I was still in rehab and just realising that the place had been repossessed. That was pretty low.
I think everyone can empathise with anyone that's involved with alcohol. I think alcohol is a big part of all our lives in the United Kingdom. A big part, it might not play a particular part in the sense that not all of us use alcohol, but it is everywhere.
Sorry, there came a point in my life where I just realised enough was enough. That I was sick of living the way I was living, in and out of jobs, in and out of hospital. And it just, you know, eventually enough was enough.
Clients refer to the organisation. So a client will come into the organisation, they'll either walk in through the front door, or they'll be referred by a GP, or referred by another organisation for treatment around their substance misuse. Loads
of times I would say I've been a serial lapser over the last 25 years. I'll have sought help with the likes of Nearaf with Henaghan. I've been in rehab before, not last year, the year before. I was 7.5 months clean with like anti-abuse like medication, disulfiram. But like, even then I didn't really believe, because I thought I could handle drinking, have me 2 or 3 pints 2 or 3 times a week, but it didn't work out, because it took about a fortnight and I was back in the rubbish.
I like to think of it a little bit like an iceberg type situation. I use a lot of ambiguous terms in my therapy to try and get people to think. If you look at an iceberg, 90% of it's under the surface, and what you see above is only 10%. Now, depending on the size of the problem, depends on the size of the problem under the surface. So if someone's invested 10, 15 years in developing a problem with alcohol, yeah, we've got to be prepared that 4 weeks isn't going to fix that. 2 months might not be enough to fix it. To be honest with you, 10 years might not be enough to fix it. Recovery is a continuous process.
It gets easier, but the temptation's still there.
The sessions tend to be less personal than, say, a one-to-one session, but they're very useful in sharing experience. One of the things that tends to come up quite often as well is in this area of work, you'll find people feel very isolated. They'll feel like their problems are really their own. And it could be that 1 or 2 of their problems are their own and it's very specific to them. But the vast majority of people find that being in a group gives them that sense of, actually, I didn't realise that there were so many people experiencing this and someone else's experiences are similar to theirs. And it really helps them boost their confidence, helps them associate with other people.
It's basically just mutual self-help. You just talk about things, anything that may have cropped up where you thought, yeah, I'll have a drink on that. Anything that life might hire you. And the beauty of it is that there's people in there who've probably been through it as well.
What you tend to do is aim your therapy or session at what the client's needs are, and you might inform by your own, maybe by your own experiences, but you certainly wouldn't use your own experiences as a way of work, and not in my area of work anyhow.
Acceptance is a huge part of it, but if you're just facing it, I think come to terms with it and just, you know, accept the fact that it's not a very nice place to go.
Alcohol affects all of us, whether it affects us in a really bad way or in some positive way. It affects every one of us.
I'll never ever say I will not drink again, because I can't. But I know that I will not drink today. And I just live my life just for today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. I think a lot of it is just remembering where you've come from and where you would end up again, because I really don't want to go back to hospital, and I don't want to be down in the gutter, as it were. It's just, if you remember the bad times, and it makes today so much better.